ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Thursday, September 25th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up this hour, we're going to be speaking with Wayne Ryan, the WVSSAC Executive Director. We told you a couple of days ago the city of Huntington and Marshall University winning the bid to host the upcoming baseball tournament. So Wayne joins us in a few minutes to talk about that bid and why Huntington was awarded the championship. But until then, we're going to get you set for Marshall and Louisiana by getting your text in. Also, we're going to hear in just a few minutes a couple of comments from Coach Gibson, as well as Carlos Del Rio Wilson and Jalen Slappy. Talk a little bit about this defense that the Thundering Herd's going to be facing in a few days. So looking forward to that. Also, and I don't know how much we're really going to get into this, but in conference play, you've got I want to say the injury report, but the participation report, that is now out. And there's a couple of names on there. So we'll get into that with you as well. But I do want to hear from you. So let's get that text line going. And again, that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So first up, you look at the availability report. And it's pretty simple, standard stuff here. And you look at Marshall and the players that are listed. You've got Rashawn Carr out, Chasen Clark's out, Jalen Marshall's out, Morgan Scott is out, Al Ashford is out, and then Joshawn Barbie for the second straight week is going to be out. So we're not going to see him. That's going to open up that running room just a little bit. We'll see how well the depth behind Joshawn Barbie really performs. And, of course, you look at Louisiana, they got several guys out. They got a few probables, but their list is a little bit bigger. And I'm curious how this is going to play into conference season when it comes to what coaches are thinking, what they're trying to do and planning for. You have an idea to begin with who might not play, who would play. But now in league play, you got to spell it out. And I wish that it was standardized across college football, that there was a report that came out, and it didn't matter if it was conference or non-conference. This stuff, put it out there. I can remember it was like pulling teeth years and years ago, a couple of regimes back. Heck, it was pulling teeth last regime, just trying to figure out, hey, who's going to be available for you? Now, and I get the reasoning behind it with coaches. Why do we want to tell the other team who's not going to be available? And that's fair to a degree, but now we're in this age of the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, money, all of this. I think it's fair. Everybody should know. I mean, what's it going to hurt, right? And that's a good question. I'll ask you. What's it going to hurt to have this information out there? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So do you think this is something that schools should continue to be able to protect? Or do you like having all of this out in the open? I think for the most part, most fans over the years want to know, hey, who's available? Who's out? For whatever reason, you just want to know. College football, it's a little different than, say, professional football. You want to know Joe Burrow's out. Hey, he's the star. Well, with college football, you kind of want to know that stuff a little bit as well, but how meaningful is it to know that compared to, say, on the NFL side? I mean, can you compare the two? Also, you have a lot of betting going on in the NFL. The NFL is a little bit more transparent when it comes to all of that, and a lot of it comes right down to it. We have this culture now where I can get on my app and I can build a parlay. I can make a bet, and okay, the Bengals, I'm going to take the points. Joe Burrow's not going to be there, so maybe I'm going to take the under on the game, and I'm going to build a parlay out. They're going to hit the under. I'm going to take the points, though, because I think they're going to win. Or, I'll take the other team because I think they're going to win, but I like the spread. And so you can build all of this out. And if you've got your injury report in front of you, you're kind of looking at this stuff going, okay, here's what I think. And this ties right into a lot of this now. More so in the NFL, but on the college side of things, we have a sort of a clear picture now. Coaches are on equal footing. And I think that's the only thing that really matters is everyone's equal footing now. If you're out, you're out. I mean, you have probables as well. Outs and probables are mostly what's showing up on all of these. You got questionable as well. Doubtful. Arkansas State's got a couple of doubtfuls on its list. James Madison's got questionable for its running back, Joby Mallory. Probable, out. You just look at the list. And for Marshall, there are no questionables. There are no probables. There's just out. And you have on the report that came out, 6 guys that are out. So I like it. You don't have to ask these questions anymore. Hey, Coach, what's the status of Joshawn Barbie? Well, it's going to be on the report. He's out. You know it. And for Louisiana, you know that their quarterback, Walker Howard, he's still out. You know that their offensive lineman, George Jackson, is out. So you know these things now. There's no questionables, probables. Everything with these two are just out right now. All right, we're going to get your text in. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've had an interesting day so far. Baseball action earlier today. It was the Pirates getting the win over the Reds yesterday in 11 innings, but the Reds were still a game back of the Mets going into this afternoon's action. And after a short rain delay, the Reds get the win over the Pirates 2-1. Still battling for that final National League wildcard spot. Baseball action yesterday. Guardians got the win over the Tigers 5-1. Cleveland now leads the American League Central Division by a game over Detroit. Series wrap up tonight, 6:40 in Cleveland. And then men's college soccer yesterday. Number 6, Marshall and VCU play to an all tie. So the Herd still unbeaten. Marshall now 3-0-4 in play. We will get your text coming up, but when we continue, we're going to be speaking with the executive director of the WVSSAC, Wayne Ryan, when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on your next project now at Menards. We've got it all, from big to small. Honeywell home thermostats keep your home's temperature comfortable through every season while saving on your heating and cooling bill. Hurry in today and save big money on Honeywell thermostats at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, John Garten, 304-525-1116. And in Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100.
The two big red eyes and the wings.
Oh yeah, funky babies. Word is that the Mothman has been spotted getting his groove on at the Ritter Park Amphitheater. And did you know Funkafest has expanded to 2 days this year? That's right, Funkafest 9, The Funk Awakens, is October 3rd and 4th in Huntington, West by God, Virginia. 2 jam-packed interdimensional days of soul-shaking live music from Sneezy, Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression, the MFB, Jeremy Short, Joey H, Massing, Chocolate Four-Wheeler, DJ Charlie Black, and more. Plus, visual art, live painting, entertaining. Fire and flow performers, craft beer, food trucks, funky yoga, disc golf, the kids' corner, and that late night silent disco on Saturday. Big love to our funky friends, The Loud, Bad Shepherd Beer Company, Bonhoff, Basque Smokehouse, Luna Pizza, Marshall University Sustainability Department, The Good Time Show, Vandalia Digital, Kindred Communications and Kindred Digital, and Graphic Solutions. Kids 12 and under get in free. Tickets at funkdefense.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9219. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-550-9219. That's 800-550-9219.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We will take your text in just a few moments. 304-396-TALK, our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. A couple of days ago, we found out the great news that Marshall University and the city of Huntington will host the upcoming baseball tournament for the foreseeable future. And to tell us a little bit more about that bid and why Huntington won and seems like the best place for this tournament here in the near future is the WVSSAC Executive Director, Wayne Ryan. Wayne, thanks for joining us, and congratulations. It's not very often you get to have that new car feel when you go and bring your championship to a venue.
Well, you know, we're excited. We're excited about Jack Cook Field. We're excited about moving the tournament to Huntington. We think it's a great facility to host us. And at the same time, I'm not going to lie, we're a little sad because we've had an absolute great experience at Go-Mart Park and in Charleston. And, you know, it was two really good bids. Our board had really two good choices. And Huntington is the winner for the next cycle.
So it starts in 2026, and the great thing about this for at least Huntington is the tournament's expanding as well. So there are going to be so many more student athletes visiting Huntington, experiencing Jack Cook Field. Did that go into the bid as far as trying to figure out which venue, what location would be able to handle, you know, the increased size of the tournament?
Well, the park in Charleston is actually a little larger, but we feel that the complex at Marshall Jack Cook Field can certainly handle the increased field. The real situation for either community was although the field has increased, it was really that the tournament therefore increased in the number of days we're going to be in town. So we're going to be there for almost a week to run the state baseball tournament. So the facility had to be available for that entire time. Both facilities were. And we're really looking forward to that. We're forward to the expansion of the baseball tournament to have 8 teams in each class and to bring what has been some really tremendous quarterfinal matchups in the regions actually into the state tournament and for round 1. So we're really looking forward to that.
It just sounds to me as if this is probably one of the hardest decisions you and you've had to make. Is it fair? This is probably one of the toughest ones. It could have been a coin flip almost.
It absolutely could have. I have to say that the decision was with our board of directors, and it's sealed bids. We opened the bids the morning of the meeting, and each location comes and presents along with the packet they provide. And pretty much my opinion doesn't truly have a big impact, but I did tell our board, you can't go wrong here. You've got 2 very worthy, 2 outstanding bids. This is a good situation. Go ahead.
I was going to say, was there anything that maybe you can point to that sealed the deal for Huntington, as close as this may have been? Was it that one thing that you could say, ultimately, this is why it's coming to Huntington?
Well, I think a couple things. Maybe first of all, we're very fortunate that we have a lot of our state events in Charleston, and they go very well. Charleston's very proven, and at the same time, I think our board does want some diversity around the state and where we host our tournaments when possible. And I think we are also intrigued by the fact that, there at the facility, there will be batting cages and locker rooms available to the teams in baseball, which we've never had before.
Our guest is Wayne Ryan, the executive director of the WVSSAC. So Huntington's hosted events before. The wrestling tournament is very successful. So this isn't necessarily a new thing for the community, but for Marshall University, for the lead up, what goes into getting this ready now for the tournament? The bid, obviously, they tell you what they can do, but being a first-time host for the baseball tournament, the next few months, I'm sure, are going to be really busy back and forth, just making sure all the logistics are on point.
Oh, absolutely. In Charleston, it was proven, and they had done it. So obviously, your pre-tournament meetings were a lot simpler because it was just a redo with a little tweak here and there. But obviously, first event in Huntington of this magnitude, as far as the specific sport of baseball, we've already scheduled a pre-tournament meeting where we'll meet with Marshall University's athletic representatives. We'll meet with the CBB, and we'll meet with the various entities that helped get this tournament in Huntington. And we'll go over line by line the small details of what has to be done and what we need, and then that way they can start the wheels of progress to put everything in place.
Our guest, Wayne Ryan, executive director, WVSSAC. Huntington Marshall University will be hosting the state tournament in baseball for this cycle. For you personally, you mentioned you saw that the board would like to move these events around. In a sense, that kind of makes it a little bit more exciting for me because it's not going to be automatic the same place every time. So have you seen maybe these last few cycles that communities are starting to step up a little bit more, trying to make these bids to host these events? We've seen football in Wheeling for as long as I can remember, and it's coming back to Charleston as an example.
Well, I think so. To put on a major state tournament, you have to have buy-in from several entities, your local school system, and also in this case Marshall University, but your county commission, your city, your convention visitors bureau, they have to be on the same page. And appreciate the fact that Huntington was. They had buy-in from a lot of people, including their baseball coach and of course President Smith at Marshall. So we're looking forward to it, and I think they're looking forward to the opportunity to host and the opportunity to have that many young people there on campus.
Our guest again, Wayne Ryan, Executive Director, WVSSAC. For you personally, have you had an opportunity to visit Jack Cook Field in this process, or will you be making your trip soon if you haven't already?
Well, we have. A bid of this magnitude required us to take a visit. Once we knew that their bid was in, even though the bids hadn't been open, we toured the facility. We were actually in the Huntington area for a pre-state tournament for wrestling. So we were able to go over and meet with Marshall and administration and look over the facility, because that was the first time I had seen it, except on a video. So we always try to tour the facilities that have put in bids, so we get a first-hand look and understand exactly what it is they're talking about when they present to our board. Absolutely.
I'm kind of curious, what were your impressions? It's been a long time coming for a baseball park in Huntington for Marshall University, so we've been excited for the last couple of years. What were your early impressions, what you saw?
Well, I mean, it's a beautiful facility, without a doubt. It's state-of-the-art. It's very new, and, I think it's got a lot to offer, without a doubt.
When I was talking with Andrew Brown yesterday at Marshall University, he discussed how the ballpark was built with this in mind, with the broadcast facilities, everything that goes into that. It sounds like that's sort of the blueprint here in the future. I know there's probably a set list of criteria that you're trying to achieve for these state tournaments. Are you seeing that more and more as these bid packets come in from different venues, trying to meet some of the intangibles, such as, okay, radio, that's important to you. Television, that's important to you. You mentioned the facilities for the kids, batting cages, everything like that. More and more now, are you seeing that from these facilities as they're trying to maybe amp up these bids? Because it's very tough to get one of these events, as you well know.
It is, and I think we see that to some degree, but it all depends on, as Andrew said, they built that for Marshall University, but with other nice tournaments in mind. A lot of facilities are being built in this day and age with the travel industry in mind. They don't have bleachers, they don't have seating, they don't have media that covers them. So they're built with a different concept, and a lot of times they'll bid on our state tournaments, and they just simply don't have the resources or the infrastructure to handle a state tournament, although they can handle the masses in a travel tournament format. So in this case, this stadium and Marshall University, Jack Cook Field, absolutely can meet the needs of the state tournament. It's a brand new facility. It's beautiful. Huntington has always been a good host of the events they've had in the past. So we're looking forward. We're excited about it. We really are.
Our guest, Wayne Ryan, Executive Director, WVSSAC. The good news coming out that Jack Cook Field on the campus of Marshall University will serve as host for at least 3 years. There's an option for 2029. So if all goes well, we're going to see this tournament here for the next few years. What's next for you since we've got you here? I know football is well underway right now, and we mentioned earlier the wrestling tournament here in Huntington continues to thrive. So, what's next for you as far as what we'd expect, what's coming your way? I mean, I'm picking your brain to see what's coming up next for you in the WVSSAC.
Right, and I appreciate that, because it gives me the opportunity to explain our office's goal for this year, and our big purpose in our work is to educate the public, educate our schools, our school administrators, and our legislatures about what we actually are and what our rules are and how they apply. I think a lot of times people speak to transparency. We're very transparent. It's just people don't bother to know the rule until it impacts them. And if it doesn't impact them right, then they've got to find someone to blame. And so we're really working hard to educate people about our rules and regulations and how they apply. We're going to continue to do that tomorrow. We get to speak to the State Association group of superintendents tomorrow. And then right around the corner, we've got our first state tournament for fall sports. It's time. We're going to have our state golf tournament in Wheeling coming up mid-October. We're going to turn right around and be back in Cabot Middle and High School for the state cross country. So fall sports seems like they just started, but they're already starting to get to the point it's almost tournament time. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it does. And, of course, we've got fall weather out there as well. So it definitely feels like it's turned finally to full-blown fall sports. Back to your point, as far as education, transparency is very important. You hear that word. But where do you think people fall short, or organizations or groups fall short when it comes to maybe educating themselves, knowing the rules until it impacts them? They really don't have a clue. So where can you improve that divide?
Well, if people will go to the WVSSAC website, we have started a new initiative. Actually, they went up yesterday, and it's FAQ, frequently asked questions, and we've created 6 one-pagers of what we call the hot topics, the rules that seem to be of major concern and most confusion right now: the transfer rule, the eligibility rule, the homeschool rule, private school participation rule, flex day rule. And we've got one-pagers on our website under FAQ, and we're going to also build YouTube videos around those. We're going to get those out to all of our schools. We've presented them to the Legislative Senate and House Education Committee. We're going to present them to the superintendents tomorrow. So we're taking what are the 5 or 6, we think, most misunderstood or unknown rules and policies that apply and sometimes have a negative impact on a student athlete. And we're going to work that education course, and we're going to try our very best to put the rules out there and make them to the point that anyone can find them without question and make better decisions. Because when the adults don't know the rule, it hurts the student athlete, and none of us want that. But yet we have to uphold the rules and regulations we have in fairness of all of our student athletes, not just 1 or 2 that might be impacted in a negative way.
Let me rephrase this. When you're hoping that people take advantage of this and educate themselves, is there a push for administrators, coaches, everyone involved in the entire process to be more proactive? Is that what you're hoping, this will start? Because I know you want to do it all, but you can't do it all. And so if you're getting more participation from the membership, is that maybe the best way to go about getting this word out and educating?
Well, I think we're definitely going to try to get our school administrators more involved in helping, get the word out, what our rules are and how they apply. So we're definitely hitting it from the school angle. We're hitting it by putting it right on our website. We're also going to have a social media blitz with it also. So we're looking at all different angles and all ways that we can. Now, you're not going to reach everybody because, again, people are only interested in the moment it impacts them. But we're going to do the very best we can to use a lot of just different medias and a lot of different avenues within our schools and tools to get the word out there and continue to educate everyone about our rules and regulations and our policies.
Wayne, I don't know how you miss anyone because, and this is a compliment to you, you are one of the most media-friendly administrators of any organization that I've ever had the pleasure to deal with. You're out there nonstop. At the drop of a hat, I could call you and you say, hey, let's do it. So I hope you get everyone because I don't know how you're going to miss.
Well, and I appreciate that. And that's one of the reasons why, first of all, I spent 30 years in the school system. I know that, the media is out there with good intentions, and it helps us spread the word. It helps us educate the public, and it helps us promote what we do for our student athletes. So I'm all in that aspect. So I appreciate that. I really do.
Wayne Ryan, our guest, he is the Executive Director, WVSSAC. Before I let you go, Wayne, anything that you'd like to touch on, maybe I missed, or is there anything that maybe you want to point out?
I think I appreciate you. I really do. I think that, like we said on the education component, anytime someone involved in a student athlete's life that they're trying to make a decision, they need to contact their school administration. And then if their school administration is unsure about something, they have a direct line to us. I would much rather questions be asked and us be able to help student athletes keep from making a mistake than have to rule on an eligibility situation where it's pretty much black and white in the rule and put the student through the appeal process and all that. So anytime we can help, we certainly want to, but the proper place to start is with your school athletic administration.
He's Wayne Ryan, the Executive Director, WVSSAC. Again, congratulations. I know it's been a fantastic run in Charleston, and I'm hoping that the run in Huntington can be equal or better. And it's really exciting. This is a big deal to have so many student athletes come to Huntington and have an event of this magnitude here. So congratulations to you and the directors on hopefully the next 4 years of some outstanding baseball being played in Huntington.
Looking forward to it, and I think that the people in Huntington, if they've never been to the state baseball tournament, the local people may or may not have schools involved, but I promise them it's really a good experience to come on over to the state tournament. So I know Marshall and Jack Cook Field's going to be a great host, and it'll be a good time in June. I guarantee it.
Wayne, thanks for doing it as always.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you.
That's Wayne Ryan, Executive Director, WVSSAC. We're going to get your text in now. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's time to get in the game with your hometown Chevy's Drive to Victory sales event. Our MVP is the Hometown Advantage. That's a 10-year, 150,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on all new and most pre-owned inventory. And don't forget about the Dynamic Duo. Interest rates as low as 2.9% and up to 90 days before your first payment's due. So come see us in Waverly or visit us online at yourhometownchevy.com to start your drive to victory today.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future. And better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now, 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control, they'll kill for your business.
Hi, I'm Elise Smith, First Lady of Marshall University and founder of the Women Warrior Summit. As a woman of Appalachia, you know how much strength it takes to shift direction, especially when you're carving a new path forward. Maybe you've been thinking about changing careers, going back to school, or even refocusing your energy on something you once loved. I am so proud to announce that the Women Warrior Summit is back for its third year, where we'll be focusing on the power of pivoting and how to approach life's turning points with clarity, courage, and intention. We'll hear from journalist, author, and entertainer Hoda Kotb, explore Jenny Blake's coveted pivot method, and even talk about how AI can support our next steps, whatever they may be. Join us Friday, October 24th at the Marshall Health Network Arena. Visit womenwarriorsummit.com to learn more. I hope to see you there.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Larry's Body Shop in Gallipolis, your place for quality body work and new tires. Visit larrysbodyshop.com. Ichabod Chinese and Japanese Restaurant. Enjoy a delicious experience in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Mark Porter Ford in Jackson, Ohio. Home of the Car Ferry, online at markporterautogroup.com.
This November 4th, voters will be asked to approve a levy for the Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities. The agency is asking for additional funding to support residents with developmental disabilities. For more information, visit lawrencedd.org. Paid for by Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this Thursday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is back open at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got a couple of questions regarding the availability reports that the Sun Belt Conference will be issuing weekly. One texter said, will there be penalties for a team that has player X listed as out, but then on game day, player X and D plays? Will the term questionable and doubtful become tactical ploys to mislead the competition? I appreciate the text. That's an interesting question, and we've got a couple other people asking about this. So here is what the policies are for the availability report. This is from the Sun Belt. It released this information earlier, and so I pulled it up. It comes with the introduction basically saying that the conference is going to publish availability reports for all conference football games and will adopt a review process for feigning injuries. So the availability reports. Sunbelt football programs will disclose to the public, and it will be through a standardized availability report, when a student athlete's ability to participate in an upcoming game is uncertain for any reason. The initial report's going to be published 3 days prior to each conference game. So, for example, Wednesday before a Saturday game was the given example. And in this case, the report came out Wednesday, with a game day update to be provided by 10:30 a.m. on game day. So at 10:30 a.m., here's the availability report. Here's who's available. And I'm going to presume that if I'm not on that availability report as being out, I'm good. But if I'm on there, if I'm out, I'm out. Now, student athletes must be designated, here again, these are the policies, as available, probable, questionable, doubtful, or out on the initial availability report. Student athletes must be designated as available, game time decisions, or out on the game day update. So, if a player wants to be able to play and the coach agrees and they think that they might be able to get him in, he's got to be a game time decision. Or this player's available. This player is game time decision, or this player is out. So there's no probable, questionable, maybes. It's available, game time decision, or out. Quarterback's a little stiff. We're working him out right now. How's the leg feeling? Okay, here's the report. We're gonna make a game time decision on him, but he could be available. He might be available, but he's not out. All right, that's fair. And so all of these reports will be made publicly available. That'll be on the Sunbelt website. Now, the other question, feigning injuries. Texter asked about that. An injured player must be given full protection under the rules, but feigning an injury is dishonest. That's from the Sunbelt. It is dishonest, unsportsmanlike, and contrary to the spirit of the rules. For questionable game action, a participating institution, the Sunbelt Conference, or the Sunbelt Coordinator of Football Officials has the option to consult the National Coordinator of Football Officials, who will facilitate a video review. So, players cannot feign injuries or questionable game action. That's the gist here. So, if a player's going to be available on game day, that player must be designated as available or a game time decision, is my take on this. If that player is not going to be available, it has to be spelled out. He's out. Now, I don't know if you're a coach and you're sitting there going, okay, how many of these guys really could be game time decisions? How many of these guys are definitely out? I mean, if you're out, you're out. Yeah, there's none of that, okay, we're just going to stand on the sideline. No, if you're out, you're out. You're in a boot, you're out. You're walking on crutches, you're out. But if that's somebody that can dress, you've got someone who can dress and you think that they're actually going to be able to help or participate, you probably list them as a game time decision here. And I'm sure there will be a coach or an athletic program that will push this to its limit. There will be that one person. And when that happens, it's going to, honestly, I think, set the precedent. And I'm sure that Sunbelt officials, I would hope, are looking for that. I hope that the league is being proactive in that regard, because you want full transparency, because you're requiring all member institutes to do this. It isn't optional. it is one of those situations where all teams must be equal when it comes to these availability reports. So there's no more of this. Now, the depth chart is the depth chart. And you see that on game day. It's going to be this quarterback or this quarterback or this. And you got this player or this player. Of course, Belichick a few weeks ago released a depth chart and had all the players as in NA, I believe that was. So you're going to see someone try to mess with this system a little bit, game it. I have a phrase I want to say, but I can't because I would violate FCC regulations. But I think you know the letters of that phrase. FAFO. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Poca Valley Bank locations today. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield, subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Hey, Tri-State. Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection, fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland, or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
What is that thing? Oh my, the 2 big red eyes and the wings.
Oh yeah, funky babies. Word is that the Mothman has been spotted getting his groove on at the Ritter Park Amphitheater. And did you know Funkafest has expanded to 2 days this year? That's right, Funkafest 9, The Funk Awakens, is October 3rd and 4th in Huntington, West by God, Virginia. 2 jam-packed interdimensional days of soul-shaking live music from Sneezy, Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression, the MFB, Jeremy Shore, Joey H, Massey, Chocolate Four-Wheeler, DJ Charlie Black, and more. Plus, visual art, live painting, fire and flow performers, craft beer, food trucks, funky yoga, disc golf, the Kids Corner, and that late-night silent disco on Saturday. Big love to our funky friends, The Loud, Bad Shepherd Beer Company, Bonhoff, Basque Smokehouse, Luna Pizza, Marshall University Sustainability Department, The Good Time Show, Vandalia Digital, Kindred Communications and Kindred Digital, and Graphic Solutions. Kids 12 and under get in free. Tickets at funkafest.com.
This November 4th, voters will be asked to approve a levy for the Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities. The agency is asking for additional funding to support residents with developmental disabilities. For more information, visit lawrencedd.org. Paid for by Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities.
Save big money on doors at Menards. Mastercraft makes great doors inside and out, building the highest quality doors in a wide variety of styles. Add beauty to your home's entryway with an exterior door from Mastercraft. Shop the best in-stock selection or design your door your way, in-store or online. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Sweetie, want some fruit?
You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Welcome back to our final segment for today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line. It's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up on Saturday, Marshall taking on Louisiana. We're going to have the game for you starting at 5 o'clock. I'll be live at Giovanni's 20th Street for college football today. And, of course, we're inviting everyone to join us as we get set to watch Marshall take on Louisiana and, of course, catch the game right here on either ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 or 93.7 The Dog. So this is going to be an important game for the Thundering Herd. It's opening up conference play. It's also the scene of the crime if you're a Louisiana fan, because Marshall goes down and handles business, wins the Sun Belt Conference Championship for the first time. Then Coach Huff is out of here. But Marshall still has a target on his back because it's the defending champion. And so things have changed a little bit. Marshall's a new team. Louisiana's a new team. What's Coach Gibson's take on how this team looks compared to maybe last year, or just basically, what do you know about Louisiana, this year's version?
Louisiana's a good football team. You know, they've lost 2 one-possession games. They could be sitting here very easily at 3-1 with their only loss to Missouri. They got 2 running backs that run extremely hard. Their offensive line is big and physical. And defensively, they're sound. You know, they do some great stuff. They're long, athletic. And they were, you know, picked as one of the top teams in our league for a reason. And right now, you know, obviously they lost their quarterback week 1. That hurt them. You know, and they've dealt with some injuries, I think. Some guys you see on film and then they kind of disappear. So, you know, and their coaching staff does a great job. You know, their head coach got a lot of respect for him. And you know, there's a couple guys on the staff that I know. There's one guy on the staff, George Barlow, that I worked with. You guys probably know George. He was here. So, you know, they've got good coaches. They got really good players. And, again, they could very easily be 3-1 instead of 1-3. And right now we're not looking at records. Nobody cares about that. Sun Belt's starting. They're going to be amped up to play at home, night game. So hopefully it's a great atmosphere. And, you know, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. That's coming up on Saturday. Now, he mentioned the defense, very sound. What does Jalen Slappy think of the other side of the ball?
I feel like their D-line is kind of the same. They got a lot of returners, really. They got their backers are really like SEC bodies, really. Long arms, 6'4", 6'3". So I feel like they do a lot of the same stuff, really. So it's going to be on the fact that we just got to play physical up front and really sustain blocks. I feel like that's the main focus this week. And just building off of last week, we don't want to have a week where last week we played excellent, defense didn't play that good. This week the defense played excellent, we don't play that good. We can't have that. So that was the emphasis too this week.
Also, Carlos Del Rio Wilson, when he looks over at the other side, he's trying to pick it apart, right? What's he see? How will Marshall attack that Louisiana defense?
I see that they're a very aggressive team. They like to rally to the ball fast. So I think I don't really want to say too much of what we're going to do, but I think a lot of movements will help within our offense, a lot of motions, a lot of reads. Like I said multiple times before, with our offense, you got to worry about stopping the quarterback, the receivers, and the running back. So with that being said, I feel like if they rally to the ball, they're going to have to worry about the other things, you know. So if we got a run game with the running back, they can't just worry about the running back. They're going to have to worry about me and then worry about the receivers getting the ball too. So I feel like that's where we kind of have our benefits versus them.
That is Carlos Del Rio Wilson. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Okay. Let's see what the text line has to offer. Okay. Here it is. Someone has sent me a... Let's see. Marshall is -1 right now. Looking at the sheet here. Someone sent me a copy of the sheet. These are one of those where you circle numbers clearly. That's what it reads. Circle numbers clearly. All teams must win. Ties lose games played other than date on this card or void. You know what this is, right? Let's see. West Virginia is +10. Marshall is -1. And if you have, let's see, you have 11 winners out of 12, 51 points. This is fun. I like this. Somebody sent me their card. You didn't circle anything, though. That would have been more fun. All right. You can send graphics as well. Yeah, I know. I'm asking for it. But you can text that stuff in. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's see. Let's look at the Bengals here. Where are the Bengals at? Are the Bengals listed? Of course, they have to be listed on this thing. Are they not? I don't think I see this. I don't think I see the Bengals. Maybe that's a good thing, not to see the Bengals on this sheet. Of course, the Bengals will have Monday Night Football for you coming up. Hopefully, can bounce back from a disappointing performance against the Vikings. And so Monday Night Football will have it for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. They're at Denver on Monday. So there's a double header, and we're going to have the Bengals game. And we'll have the home team. And just remember, I know you couldn't watch it last week. If you can't watch the Bengals game, we got you covered. We're going to have every single game right here on the radio dial, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, also on 93.7 The Dog. So back with you tomorrow. We'll take a look at this game in a little bit more detail with our kickoff. We'll also take a quick look at what's happening high school football on a Friday night. We've got several games to tell you about. Spring Valley is going to be at St. Albans. We'll have that game at 7 o'clock on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, as well as Cabell Midland and Hurricane. That's going to be our video streaming game. You can go to our website, WRVC.com, go to our Facebook page, and you can video stream that. Also, we'll have Ashland and Greenup County that's coming up on our sister station, 97.9 The River. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thanks for being a part of it. I'll be back with you tomorrow. And then, I got bad news for you. I got to take the week off. No choice in the matter. I got to take this week off coming up. So we're going to leave you in some good hands next week. We'll tell you more about that tomorrow. But for everyone joining us today, thanks for tuning in to The Drive.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRVC, W231BS Huntington.